Anytime you're playing without a bass player, you can use this type of approach. I'm going to take it slow and show it to you step by step. Here we go. So I'm going to play through one chorus nice and slow first, so you can kind of see how this thing works. It's in B flat. Here's the B section. Last A section. And that's one way to do it. For each part that I played here, there's alternate ways to play it. So if you go down, you can stay down here and go. Whereas if you go up, you know, you can stay up here. So you want to learn the progression in different places around the neck, and you want to start by learning one way really well, so it's like muscle memory, and then add in the alternate ways and start to learn those and substitute those. Now we're going to get a little more detail on the chords and how to play the walking bass line. So I'm going to show you the basic way to create a walking bass line, and you can apply this to any tune. So first you map out the chord progression using root position chords, and you want to have at least 2, maybe 3 different voicings, or I'd rather say fingerings for those chords around the neck. So in the case of rhythm changes, for the A section, we've got B flat, G7 or G altered or G minor 7, C minor 7, F7. So that's the first two measures. The next two measures are the same chords, right? The same 4 chords. So you want to map them out somewhere else. So, right? B flat, G, C, F. So now we've got the bass line is going to be on the quarter notes. So there's going to be 4 bass notes per measure. And we've got 2 chords for measure. So essentially what you can do is you can just do an approach note to each chord. Okay, so okay, I'm just approaching each chord from its bass note a half step above. What you want to do is now vary that, so sometimes you're approaching from half step above and sometimes from half step below. So now, then you want to change the chords, so sometimes they're landing on the downbeat with the bass note and sometimes they're on the upbeat right after the bass note. So that's the first 4 measures. Then it goes, there's a movement to E flat like this. That's one way to do it. There's different ways you could do it. And then we do a 3-6-2-5. So that's D minor, G7, C minor, F7. So that part again is okay, and putting our bass notes in. What I opted in this situation is to do arpeggios. So here's an arpeggio. We've got B flat major 7, the arpeggio for D diminished, then E flat major 7, then the arpeggio for E diminished, then back to the half step approach. So now we've got altogether so far we've got now now we go back to the B flat, the closest one is here, right? Now we can go to G here, but or we could go to G here. Okay, that's the same as this one, right? So we can, or this one. Right? Then again. Now here's the ending of the phrase, which is slightly different, which you can do. But what I chose to do is so these are just substitutes. D minor 7, which you can use as a substitute for B flat. Bass note here, which is the 5th. This is a tritone substitute for our G7. C minor 7, F. Now we're on the bridge. So the bridge is D7 for 2 bars, then G7 for 2 bars, C7 for 2 bars, and then F7 for 2 bars. So for this part, for a walking bass line, you want to take kind of a different approach. Now you could do this type of, you could do that type of thing. It's not really a walking bass line, but it does keep the bass movement going. But a way you can do a walking bass line is this. You go root to the major third, walk it up to the fifth. So we've got, now we're here, right, on A. We're going to G, so we can approach G by half steps. So that would be, so now we're on G7. Now we can do a walk up from the third, major third, for flat 5 to 5, just like we did with D. So like this. So now we got something like this. So back to the last A. So that's the basic structure. And what I would do is just get that down really well. Now I have an ending for the last A section there that goes like this. We go like this. Or either way. So let me show you that. Okay. So that's C minor to an A note, then to G. Then you go. Then to this. This is an A flat 7 with a flat 5, and then there's a lot of different ways you could do that. You could do here. So that sounds really nice to end an A section. You know, and then I wanted to mention that the percussive thing, that is something I would just, if you want to put that in, I would put it in after you really learn the bass line and the progression and everything. It's just an added level of complexity. It's not too hard, but you want to really know the progression. But it does add a little bit of interest, a little percussion. It really keeps the beat. One other thing I want to mention is for the A section, you can substitute 1, sharp 1, or flat 2, or sharp 1 diminished, 2 minor, 5. So oh, the other thing that, you know, is pretty cool is sometimes you might want to just play the bass line. Without the chords for a while, maybe for, you know, 8 measures or something, for a bit, and then bring in the chords. And the key is to vary it. So that's the approach to doing a bass line for rhythm changes, and like I was saying, you can use this approach to create a bass line for any song. Now we're just about at the end of 2020, and I'm not going to lie, it's been a tough year. If you're watching this video, then you're still with us, so I want to congratulate you on that. If you've lost a loved one, I want to give you my condolences, and if you've lost your job, my heart goes out to you. However, I do have a feeling that 2021 is going to be a much better year. Once people get out and start playing again, everyone's going to have mad skills, because there was nothing to do in 2020 but sit at home and practice. I'm going to make some more videos that show how to improvise over rhythm changes, and also how to play some melodies over rhythm changes like Mooche the Mooche that I did in the demo, as well as Oleo and maybe some others. So until next time, happy music making.